All right, yeah, welcome back. We're still live here on Ben Television. We're still looking at the tolerance of the present government in Nigeria to opposition or voices of opposition, or being tolerant to ideas that are actually contrary to the position being held by the government. And one man, a publisher based here in London, just had an experience with the Nigerian police, and he's sharing that experience on the tolerance of the police and the government under Buhari with us. Dada, thank you for joining us again. So where we stopped, taken from Malewi, on Abuja. January 1st, New Year Day, now we're in Abuja. Yep. You are in SAS headquarters. They've moved you to the office of the officer in charge. They are now showing you your document. Here was a publication on another website, yes, not your website. How does that concern Elumba?
That is the question I asked the police. How does the publication on another website by a different individual I have never had the name before concern me? Now they said that they believe that my brother published the article using a pseudonym on all other websites. They also said that there is a clique who they believe that spread all sorts of misinformation against the IGP. Interestingly, the article in question merely contained allegations that have been raised at the National Assembly by a senator of the Federal Senator
already in public domain.
Senator Misao.
So the article contained information already in the public domain,
published by almost every media house in Nigeria. What that guy simply did is to gather all those accusations, allegations against the IGP, summarize them, and now ask the question, is this person still fit? In view of all these allegations against our chief of police, is he still fit to be the IGP? Why is the President Buhari still retaining this man as the IGP in spite of all these allegations? So even if I did,
even if
I published the article, even if my brother has published this same article, how does it warrant the chief of police to use a unit of the police formed and dedicated to fighting, kidnapping, armed robbery, and other violent crimes in Nigeria, special anti-robbery squad? Then the other one, special tactical. The special tactical squad, which I learned that he used to lead the operation, is a unit formed directly under the IG dedicated to fighting kidnapping. Now this STS used SAS, another unit formed and dedicated to fighting armed robbery, to kidnap an online journalist with other members of his family in a matter that should be said, even if indeed the IG felt insulted, what stopped him from going to court? Why didn't he sue my brother for defamation and libel? Did he invite my brother, say, come, there is an article you published on your website that I felt insulted by. Come and explain to me. Was any of such invitation extended? Did he refuse to come? Did you invite him? Did you invite him? Why use SARS, STS, to arrest civilians in a matter that is purely civil, even if he indeed published the article? These are questions that need answers. So even if, maybe because I'm a British citizen, or maybe because I'm a legal practitioner, because it raised a lot of outrage in the media and Facebook and Twitter. People were calling them on phone, asking them why are you doing this. So I was released late after midnight, the same day. Then my brother was kept in prison for 25 days. I went back the next day asking them to release him.
So you were released?
Yes, I was released after 24 hours, the next day.
You were released the following day?
The following day.
But your brother was kept?
My brother, the editor of the website. Was still kept in detention.
We also learned they went to court to secure a kind of
a remand.
Magistrate ruling to remand him for further questioning for another 48 hours or thereabout?
For 7 days. That is another thing.
7 days.
Yeah, the next day, because the law allows them to detain someone
more than 48 hours.
Not more than 48 hours. So what they did, the next day they took him to an area court, Mpape area court. The law, of course, allows, I think I learned section 242 of the criminal code or something, allows the police to apply to a magistrate court for a remand to further detain an accused person for 14 days for further investigation. But they did not go to a magistrate court. They went to an area court in contradiction of what the law says they should do. Of course, we should also challenge that in the court, and the court gave them 7 days for further remand. At the end of that 7 days, we applied for my brother to be released on bail. They did not. And they did not seek a further extension of the remand. So after that 7 days expired, they still kept my brother in detention for another 25 days without any court order. And then we have to go to a high court, Abuja High Court.
What did they say? Why did they say that? What excuse or reason did they give for keeping him further than the given 7 days by the court?
What they said is that they have filed a charge at Federal High Court, Abuja.
Okay, go on.
They have simply filed a charge and left the charge.
So if they have filed a charge, is the offense, let us assume he committed, is it not a bailable offense?
It is a bailable offense. And even the fact that you filed a charge does not give you the mandate to detain any Nigerian citizen in police cell. No. The law
Indefinitely?
Indefinitely, no. That you filed a charge is not an excuse to detain anyone in prison, no.
So we are actually looking at what has been happening in the country, in Nigeria, and we are hearing from one of the victims of the intolerance and perpetual disobedience to court order by either the police or the government of Nigeria. You sought a court intervention for detention of a suspect for 7 days. After the expiration of the 7 days, you did not go back to court. The police did not go back to court. They just deliberately ignored that civil rights of this suspect and kept him further for 7 days. It will not be the first time in the life of this administration where court rulings have been misapplied and disobeyed. And this is just another example to a citizen. And hopefully the police will at some point be able to give excuse for why he does persistently be in such violation of court orders. That is just on that side. So they kept him further.
Yes, eventually, because it was during the holidays, we applied to the High Court then for the High Court to order for my brother's release. Eventually, the matter was listed for hearing, and the Nigerian judiciary rose up to the challenge, and the High Court now ordered for my brother to be released within 24 hours. And my brother wasn't released within 24 hours.
Even despite the court ruling that he should be released within 24 hours,
he wasn't released within 24 hours.
The police still disobeyed that court order.
We now threatened them that we would go back to court, and if we had gone back to court to seek contempt of court proceedings against the IGP, eventually my brother was released. The order was given on 23rd, and my brother was released on the 25th. So my brother was released, but now I learned that they have charged me and my brother to court, and we are due to be arraigned on March 1. I made inquiries. They haven't been served anyway. I only learned that my brother was served, but up till now, nobody has served me with any crime. Nobody has served me the application.
Maybe it was a joint service, you and your brother together.
Wow, you cannot serve my brother to serve me. I have the right to be served, either through me, to me, or through my counsel.
Well-known address,
well-known address, or through my lawyer. They know my lawyer. But whichever happens, I will travel back to Nigeria, because since it has come within my knowledge that I've been charged, if I'm not in Nigeria, maybe they will go to court and they claim that I've jumped bail because I'm still under bail. Someone took me on bail, on police bail. So I'll have to go be in Nigeria by March 1 to be arraigned and charged.
In summary, let us look at the tolerance of what is the legality of the actions of the police, starting with the publication that you have been accused of,
yes,
going to refusal to release your brother after the 7 days expiration,
yes,
going to refusal to release your brother after securing a judgment, a court judgment that he should be released.
yes.
What is the legality? What are the implications,
yes,
for some of this police action in Nigeria?
It is sad that under a democratic government, Nigerian citizens have continued to be subjected to arbitrary arrests, unlawful arrest and detention. While I cannot discuss the legality of what has happened to me, because there are pending court cases, civil suits and criminal cases still pending, I will discuss what has happened to other people in Nigeria, because I am not, and my brother is not the first person that has been arrested in Nigeria. We are aware that the Kaduna State Governor arrested or caused to be arrested an online journalist for publications that the governor deemed offensive to himself. We are also aware that the Akwa Ibom State Governor abducted a journalist in Abuja and forcefully took him down to Akwa Ibom State, where he was detained because the journalist published an article that the governor deemed offensive. We are also aware that the Bauchi State Governor caused another journalist to be abducted in Abuja and taken to Bauchi State because the journalist published an article he deemed offensive. I'm also aware that an anti-corruption activist, IG Wala, because he exposed the corruption in the Nigeria Hajj operations in his state, I think, in his state, Katsina, is it Katsina State? I think Kano State or one of those northern states. He was also arrested, unlawfully arrested, I might say, because up till I'm not aware that he had been properly arraigned in a court of law. I'm also aware that other Nigerians were arrested on the orders of the presidency, and the court has given them court bail, and the government refused to release them. Up till now, there is a journalist. I just became aware of this last week. A journalist has been in detention for up to 530 days. A journalist based in Bayelsa State was arrested by the DSS. Up till now, he's still in detention. And Nigerians are not even concerned.
Arrested and still in detention.
Up till now, as I'm talking to you, the Committee for the Protection of Journalists issued a statement on this man, I think 3 days ago. That was how I became aware of it. Because all these international organizations contacted me when I was arrested. Committee for the Protection of Journalists, a human rights organization based in Vienna, American Bar Association, Amnesty International, Journalists Sans Frontières, Without Frontiers contacted me from Paris. So I now became aware of what journalists have been suffering, even in my own country. Lists of them who have been arrested without trial for offenses that should be purely civil. Security agents became involved. All these are happening supposedly under a democratic government.
Within the life of this government?
Within the life of this government. Well, admittedly, there are issues, some of them that happened in under the previous administration, but not to this extent, and not with the seeming and technical connivance or acquiescence of the federal government. Why should these things be happening? In my own case, I learned because we took it very serious. We petitioned a lot of organizations. We petitioned the presidency, and I'm now aware that the presidency have issued a query to the Inspector General of Police.
Let me put on hold there.
Yes.
The presidency, we also are aware that the vice president put an query through to the IG on your matter. Yes. We'll come back. We'll take a short break now, and I'll be back. But indeed, how just, fair, and equitable is democracy to the people? How economically free are the people in a world of globalization? Join the discussion. Have your say here, live on Ben Television on Newspunch.